Okej, mirëmbrëma. Good evening. Mirë se keni ardhur në aktivitetin e parë që na si ICK organizojmë bashkë me programin USAID Compete. Këtë program kemi pas disa prej aktiviteteve që janë në këtë fushë, pra për komunitetin ICT-s, në kuadër të kësaj edhe një startup grand chapter. Sot kam derën me pas 3 mysafir, 2 njerëz dhe një robot. Karsten, Dritan edhe Horst Gjashqishi kanë me qenë sot me neve. Kemi me fol për Industrial Automation and Robotics in Kosovo. Është një temë e re, nuk e kemi shtyllu shumë në ICK, kështu që mezi po pres unë me ul bashkë me ju me dëgju prej Karstenit, Dritonit edhe Horstit. Horsti s'din me fol, po Horsti qet me durë. Karsten, the floor is yours. Thank you for continuously cooperating with our community, not only with insects but now with the robots as well.
Right.
You have the mic.
I have the mic. Thank you very much, Spend. Membrama, Kosovo. That's all my Albanian. Mefal. And welcome to talking about automation and robotics in Kosovo. We will have, I would say, a bit a colorful program. First, I will speak a bit about automation, robotics in general, some experience I was happy to gather during the last years. And then it becomes a bit more technical with my friend and dear colleague Driton, to talk about the robot itself, a bit about technical backgrounds. And after that, we also have a presentation. And it's a really nice application you will see, which is one of the applications used in so many industries. And so I'm really proud we could make it possible to show that here tonight. And after that, unofficially, you could come, or informally, and play a bit with Horst. Horst, if he has feelings, I don't know, but a robot, there is some relationship that can start, and it's something very fascinating. And I hope tonight we can give you some of the fascination we have for industrial automation and for robotics, and also to bring it into the context of Kosovo. Who of you, just to have an idea, already had some experience with robotics? Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I have a little experience with one of my friend. He is also from Germany. He's an engineer in Germany. He has also a license about working with KUKA robot and Yaskawa robots in industry and also in the automation industry.
Thank you. Yeah.
And he wants to work here in Kosovo. We are thinking to continue his work here in Kosovo in the same way as he did in Germany.
Thank you very much. You also had some experience before?
Yes, but only during our studies. I've worked with some robotic arms and so on, but just a general idea about robotics I do have.
Right. Well, thank you. Anybody else? Wow, so it's new. That's good, so I can just tell you anything and nobody knows if that is good or not. So that was the test, All right, let's get started. Just a bit about my background. I worked more than 11 years for ABB in Germany in the field of robotics in the automotive industry, and it's just fascinating. It's like Lego for big boys, and I enjoyed that very much. And later, I worked for a design office, and this design office did the engineering for car body manufacturing, where there are hundreds of robots building one car body for Porsche, for Audi, Mercedes, and so on. And it's a lot of fun, and I will show you a bit more about that later. So before we get deeper into it, I would like to ask you, to which extent do you feel is industrial automation and robotics part of Kosovo's manufacturing environment? What is your feeling? What is the status of robotics and automation here in Kosovo?
Poor.
Poor? Okay, that means, let's see, there is not so much, there is a lot of potential. Next question. Do you feel industrial automation and robotics has the potential to accelerate the economic development of Kosovo? Why? Maybe one or two.
People are afraid of robots being like replacing them at work, so they might lose the job. And it's not a feeling also here, but even in Germany and also in the US. So people are all afraid of these machines. I hate you. I'm joking.
Well, it's a very important point, and we will touch that in a second. Any other thoughts on that point? How can industrial automation help economy?
Increase efficiency.
Increase efficiency?
No mistakes or less mistakes?
No mistakes? Yeah. Okay. And here is the question you also touched. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the ethics of industrial automation and robotics regarding employment and why? And you mentioned what you hear always. Hey, when we have robots, they kill workplaces. It's true, and at the same time it's not.
Yes.
Yeah? Here are some statistics on that. You can see on the left side, this is the amount of robots in the relevant countries. And on the right side, this is the blue one, is the unemployment rate. And this is very interesting. When you introduce robotics, there is no doubt about it. There will be workplaces replaced by robots. And for a shorter time, unemployment might increase, as you can see here. In the US, it took a bit longer. But then, with industrial automation, you can bring industries and production processes here which cannot be done manually. That means we can elevate the industrial competence on a completely different level. And by this, jobs will be created which without are not possible to be created. And this is very interesting to think about. Yeah, that when bringing robots, yes, jobs will be replaced, but many new ones will be created and unemployment will go down. And not only unemployment will go down, also the value of the job will increase, the salaries will increase. Yeah? And this is a very important point to think about. And when it comes to my personal understanding, when it comes to industrial automation and robotics, we need to think about ethics, because automation should serve the people and not the other way around. And we need to do it with competence. And about competence, I have no doubt here in Kosovo, also there is a lot possible. Yeah? Now, let's talk a bit about robots. What could be an application? That could be an application. Maybe in Pristina Mall at some point. Yeah. This is just for fun. Yeah. But you can see with robots, many things can be possible. But coming to industry, this is an application. This is a robot. This is a gripper. This is a gripper for the battery tray of the Audi e-tron. This tray has a weight of 700 kilograms. Yeah. And this is an application. Another application could look like this. This is an assembly line, yeah, where many robots work together. I don't know for which product, but when you will see the assembly lines for the iPhone, it's hundreds of robots in one line putting all the parts together. Now, how does it look like in different countries? And this is quite interesting statistics. You see, South Korea has around 1,000 robots per 10,000 people. That means, here in Kosovo, that means like 180,000 robots, if that was the same ratio. Yeah? And you could see that also those countries who are economically successful, there is a lot of automation. Yeah? Automation that serves the people. And not to forget the ethics behind it, always. Yeah? And when you look here, for instance, interesting, Slovenia already is also very, very advanced when it comes to automation. Yeah? So now, some other statistics. This shows the sales of robots during the last year. Yeah? While in 2009, there were 60,000 robots sold per year. Now it's 630,000 robots per year. It's not only the big robots, also many small robots, collaborative robots that work together with people. And there's a lot happening. And we can see that every economy that is working hard on its development, automation, robotics, is part of it and needs to be part of it. And by the way, tonight should be easygoing. Yeah, so if you have questions, thoughts, please do not hesitate just to raise your hand and to talk with each other. Automotive industry, electronics, metal, is a lot of robots, hundreds, thousands of robots. But the interesting part is that food and other industries and unspecified have a huge growth. That means all the traditional industries are changing. Here it's going down and here it's going up. And this is the playground for innovation. There is so many robotic applications we don't know yet. We can do it, and here in Kosovo, I believe it's a good place, and especially here also at the ICK, to think about innovation in these areas where automation can be a help for the development of Kosovo. Now, last statistics, I promise. It's also interesting to see that medical robots have a huge increase. Yeah, it's not only robots like Pepper, yeah, which will be part in the hospitals, in homes for the aged to serve people. It's also like industrial robots doing brain surgery, doing heart surgery, yeah, and the surgeon will have his joysticks, yeah, and there are already laboratories at many universities doing that, yeah, and logistics. It's crazy when you look into the warehouses of Amazon, for instance, how crazy automation has been optimized. Yeah? And you don't see people anymore because people cannot handle it too fast. Yeah? And so putting all of this together, there is a lot to innovate, a lot to do, a lot of opportunities. Now, I have a small video as next. It comes from car body manufacturing, which is called Body in White. This is where I come from, yeah? And it shows, I would say, probably the highest grade of industrial automation you can find. The automotive industry is far ahead since decades, yeah? And this is to give an idea. was from China. And if you think Chinese cars are, I don't know, same quality, it's BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and cheaper. Yeah, China has more than 50 car brands. We don't know. Yeah, there's car factories all over, good quality. I mean, the quality was brought there, and the Chinese learned very quickly. There's maybe one thought is, the advantage of the Chinese is their learning attitude. Yeah, they look at everything and they take everything they can get. And they learned extremely quickly. And so the cars from China, at some point they will come here, cheap, it's good quality, no doubt.
A taxi company just broke.
Yeah, good. So now, what can you do with a robot? There's all kinds of application: assembly, handling, machining, welding, casting, finishing, painting, cleaning, even harvesting. Yeah, there's a lot you can do. There's almost nothing you cannot do with a robot. And this is just to show you, these are those different categories, and there are many subcategories. So there's a lot. There's just a lot. And we are just starting here in Kosovo. Yeah. And just to give you a few pictures, you know, how handling and picking could look like, yeah? Or about machining and cutting. This, by the way, is called hemming. When you look at the car, the wheelhouse, and where there's the wheel and then the metal, and when you go with the hand there, it's round. And this is the hemming, to put the metal sheet like this. Yeah, very nice application. And harvesting. Yeah, and this is a field where a lot of innovation is taking place right now. Yeah, and then welding and soldering, packing and palletizing, inspection, quality control. Think of it, and you can almost use for everything some industrial automation. So now there's another application which I would like to show you. It's with Horst. This is screwing, yeah? Quite a complex process, yeah. The one is to pick the screw at the right position, to position the screw at the right place, that it, yeah, and then with the right torque, yeah. And but by now you can buy so many periphery equipment fitting to a robot that when you have an idea, you can put things together and you have your application. It's not too difficult. So, shall we talk about cars? I mean, you have no choice, it's the next slide, so. So, where I worked last, we had a large project with Audi e-tron, yeah? And let's look what was happening there. There's the car body, yeah? There is the empty battery tray. Then there is the assembly of the battery, and is the electric drive assembly, yeah? And in all this, we were involved, and that was quite fun because it was just starting, and we learned a lot during this process with Audi. Now, let's look at car body manufacturing. Yeah, what happens? Like as a design office, the design office I worked, we had 250 engineers just doing the design for the line. Yeah, you get from Audi these car parts, and I say, build me the line for that. From this, you create a layout with all the robots, with all the periphery, with all the machines to ensure with cycle time and everything. And then from this, you create a virtual model. And that's fun. Yeah? It looks like this. This is a complete virtual manufacturing cell where the last screw, the last washer, the last signal of the PLC, robot programs, everything is there. It's the complete line, finished but virtual. Like this, you can design manufacturing places with thousands of robots without building anything, and to ensure everything works, and then you build it. Yeah, and this is now how lines are built for the automotive industry. And who is keen about software? So all these different kinds of software tools. CATIA is the main one in the automotive industry, then Siemens NX, and then Inventor, SolidWorks, and so on. Not so much, but more in the general industry, they are used there. For simulation, Process Simulate. Has someone some experience with simulation? So, yeah, and this is really fun, yeah, if you start with that. And then with virtual commissioning, this is quite new. There's not so many software packages, but this is also now a field where you also, for instance, can have a digital twin. Yeah, you can have a manufacturing line in China, and you have the digital twin here in Kosovo. And if the robot on your screen does like that, at the same time the robot in China does like that. Yeah, and you can optimize here and test, and then press the button, and then it changes the programs in China. And this is the way automation is more and more advancing. So now one last slide about car body manufacturing. This is the project we worked on. You saw this is the underbody of the Audi, I don't know, A6. This is a part of the line. It's 48,000 square meters. 7 football fields big. And now we just look. This is 360 robots, 1,900 welding spots, 35 meters of glue. And now we just look at this part. You can see this is the worker. And from this you can see the complexity of these manufacturing processes. Now, how does it go? This is how the parts are put together in that line. And we will go now into one station to see how it looks like. So now the underbody is put into the station. It is indexed, so it's in the right position. Yeah. Now from the side, the wheel houses will be brought, and they have to be put in the right geometry, like a 1/10 of millimeter correct. And once it's fixed, then the robots with the welding guns will come and weld. And this is an example how the complete car body basically is built. All right, so enough car. Now I would like to speak a little bit about Kosovo. You know, especially during the last 2-3 years, European companies returned from China to Europe. Whether it's transport costs, whether it's availability of chips, whether it's a loss of trust in different systems. Yeah, so what becomes more and more important to those companies is nearshoring. Yeah, to see where around Europe can we get these services or products done, which we did before in China, in India, in Vietnam also. I didn't find a nearshoring map with Kosovo, so I built one. Yeah, so we have Kosovo here. Yeah, and I think. Good job. Yeah. For Germany, Kosovo is such a jewel. Yeah, we haven't understood yet, I guess, but also Germany hasn't understood yet. Yeah, and if we use this opportunity, which is now opening for developing resources, for learning in automation, there can be a lot of growth and cooperation with German companies. And they're coming here slowly now and asking for resources. Yeah? And this is a huge opportunity. And it's connected with learning and with innovation, which is taking place here. Kosovo has the resources. I want to show you a small video about a very niche innovation in the textile industry, which is a result of nearshoring. Because now in Germany, CNA is producing again in Germany and not in China, Vietnam, or in other countries. And this is a small application which is very new and revolutionary. Just to pick cloth. Yeah? It's very simple, but it has a huge impact. And I believe these kinds of innovation, they can happen here. We can do that. Yeah? So 2 more slides and then I'm finished. I want to talk about these guys from Horst. They call themselves Fruit Core, and the reason why, or one of the reasons why it's fun to work with them, they are young startups like many here in Kosovo. Yeah, it's just a few years that they work. Yeah, and as you can see, they are quite successful in a niche for robots, because there are many huge robots companies, KUKA, ABB, Fanuc, whatever, and they managed to build in Germany, in a niche, robots which now get into the market. And I think Fruit Core is a nice example and also an inspiration for us here in Kosovo. Yeah. So what I want to finish with is some food.
What can I say about me? I'm here to let you know that I'm doing fine. 360 degrees. I mean, I'm just saying I'm about. And I try my best to keep it real with you tonight. I feel good. I'm on my good foot, babe. I'm gonna do my thing tonight. I feel good. And I'm gonna party like it is 1999. I feel good. If you feel like moving, let your body join the ride. If you feel like getting out of here, that's alright. Baby, I feel good. Oh, I feel good. What can I say about you? You are so cute, too cute to be true. And I was thinking of you. You make me feel like I wanna feel. And I try my best to keep it real with you tonight. I feel good.
So you see there's almost nothing you cannot do with a robot, and it can be a lot of fun. Yeah. Now I am happy to hand over to my friend Triton. Yeah. And please feel free whenever you have questions, when there's something, just ask. Yeah.
Përshëndetje, jam Dritan Asonaj, nga kompania Robotics. Kompania jonë mirët me automatizimin e proceseve industriale, po ashtu edhe vërjen funksion të robotëve, që mja lehtësu sa më shumë punën njerëzve, për shembull punë që janë më monotone ose më të rrezikshme për me kry një njeri, mundet me kry roboti, edhe për me automatizu komplet një sistem. Për automatizmin industrial mundemi me folë në vazhdim, është përdorimi i pajisjeve kontrolluese, siç janë për shembull PC-t ose PLC-t, për me mundësu që një sistem, një proces industrial me automatizu. Edhe makinerit, do më thonë pa pas nevojë që me pas operator tjeshtëm. Eliminon mundësinë e gabimit njerëzor, si që dim njerëz mujnë gjatë punës me bë gabime, ndërsa përparësitë e sa janë reduktimi i kostove, produktivitetit, cilësi e përmirësuar, shumë fleksibil, siguri e rritur. Me pak fjalë, për shembull, çdo mekanizëm që mundet me lëviz vetë, ose e vetë dikton lëvizjen e vetë, mundemi me thonë që është mekanizëm i automatizuar. Pajisjet për automatizëm industrial. Ndër pajisjet që përdor në për shembull automatizmi industrial janë senzorët, janë pajisje për shembull që masin, mallësi fizike, temperaturë, distancë, shpejtësi, mallësi të ndryshme dhe në dalje japin mallësi elektrike. Po ashtu janë PLC-t ose rregulatori logjik i programueshëm, janë pajisje elektronike të digitalizuar. Këto pajisje janë të projektuar për mjedise industriale, kanë memorje që është e programueshme dhe reprogramueshme, që mi mbajt udhëzimet që ja jep operatori. Po ashtu këtu kanë hyrje dhe dalje. Në hyrje për shembull mundemi mi lidh senzorët që mi marrë informatat, kurse në dalje mund me kontrollu aktuator të ndryshëm. Pajisje tjetër që është më rëndësi janë HMI ose Human Machine Interface. Kjo bën ndërfaqja mes njerëzit dhe makinës. Këtu për shembull mund mi kontrollu procese të ndryshme të sistemit që kemi industrial ose mund me komandu sistemin industrial përmes butonave që i vendosim në HMI dhe robotët. Robotët mund me kry me shumë efikasitet detyra në situata të komplikuara ose shumë të rrezikshme. Janë fleksibiliteti i manipulatorëve robotik na bën të mundur që këta robot për shembull mi përdor në sisteme industriale, mi automatizu sistemet industriale. Përdorimi i robotëve do të me siguru qëndrueshmëri, saktësi edhe do të shpejtësi të lartë gjatë kryerjes së detyrave. Tash të me fol pak për robotin Horst, Highly Optimized Robotic System Technology, është i prodhuar në Gjermani edhe i ka 6 akse rrotulluese. Aksin e parë kemi këtu, aksin e dytë, aksi i tretë, i katërt, i pestë dhe aksi i gjashtë është tek vegla ponjuese. Tipet e tij janë Horst 600, është edhe Horst 600 Lab, edhe Horst 600 Fast, është Horst 900 dhe Horst 1400. Disa specifika për secilin prej tyre, për shembull tek nominal load ose ngarkesa nominale, tek Horst 600 që e kemi këtu, është 3 kg, ndërsa tek 900 është 5, ndërsa 1400 është 10 kg, po ashtu edhe shtrirja e robotit ndallon nga 584 mm sa është Horst 600 në 905, ndërsa në Horst 1400 është 1400 mm. Fushveprimi i Horst 600-shit, tush cejkalemarit është 584 mm, pra, dhe 955 mm në pjesën e sipërme, ndërsa si blind spot e ka vetëm 14 shkallë pjesën pas. Së bashku me robotin Horst gjen edhe Horst Control. Horst Control është sistemi i kontrollit të robotit. Këto për shembull i kemi portin Ethernet, i kemi 2 lidhje apo porta USB 3.1, ndërprerësi kryesor, e kemi ndërprerësin që e ndryshojmë modalitetin e robotit nga për shembull teaching mode në automatik, on-off, po ashtu në pjesën e pasme i ka edhe 2 porta për Profinet komunikimin, edhe e ka një pjesë ku i ka digital inputs edhe digital outputs, pra ne mund me i lidh senzor të ndryshëm dhe aktuator direkt në pjesën e kontrollit të Horstit, edhe po ashtu komunikimin me Modbus. Horst paneli, pjesë ti ka është touch display, e ka emergency stop butonin, për çfarë do rasti, ka 2 porta të USB, ka për mouse edhe keyboard, edhe e ka enabling switch. Enabling switch shërben kur jemi në teaching mode 1-shin edhe 2-shin, do ta mbajmë shtyp enabling switch, ndërsa kur jemi në mode automatik nuk ka nevojë. Nëse e shohim kur e hapim software-in e Horstit, main screen na shfaqet opsioni për inicializimin e robotit. E kemi external control, me kontrollu për shembull robotin nga jashtë, krijojmë programin grafik ose tekstual, load program, free navigation edhe system and info. Tek pjesa settings and info, tek pjesa settings e kena login, ku na shfaqen erroret. remote access, këto për shembull kur dëshirojmë që me kontrollu robotin përmes profinetit ose më të bazë do të njerë të shkojmë në remote access edhe ta bëjmë aktive. Po ashtu tools edhe 3D World, këto të kjo pjesa tools edhe 3D World mujnë për shembull me ndryshu toolsat apo veglin për një se mujnë me ndryshu robotit, edhe mujnë me shtu objekte 3D, këto objekte mujnë me qenë STL filesa, do më thonë mujnë me përnju me SolidWorks ose Fusion 360, edhe mujnë me kriju komplet ambientin e punës mbrana në softwarein në botën e robotit. Free navigation, kur shkojmë në free navigation nga menuja kryesore, kemi për shembull X, Y edhe Z aksizën, kemi aksizën e bazës edhe tool center point, sistemin koordinativ të veglës punëse. Do ta shtypim për shembull se cilën aksizë që dëshirojmë ta lëvizim, edhe ta lëvizim plus ose minus, që të regon edhe në figurë se nga cila on lëviz, ndërsa tek lëvizja e akseve, klikojmë se cilin aks dhe mujmë me lëviz se cilin aks veç e veç. Nëse për shembull tek pjesa plusit shkon në drejtim të shigjetës. Kur e krijojmë një graphical program, si menu si opsione kryesore, për shembull, këtu na shfaqet program 3, pak më sipër është me kriju funksione dhe variabla, e kemi save edhe me execute the program, qëto e kemi na tregon se në cilën mode është roboti, është në teaching mode, është në automatic, po ashtu e kemi edhe këtu na shfaqen erroret, shpejtësia mundet me ndryshu në atë pjesën sipër, e kemi opsionin simulim, apo real, edhe i kemi add komandat. Te komandat i kemi waypoint, për shembull, pikat që ku dëshirojmë ne me shku roboti, po ashtu edhe pikat relative, set output a mu mbyll vegla, greperi apo mu hap, mujmë me kriju lupe, if conditions, po ashtu paletizimi mundet mu ba, për shembull ja japim veç pikat e skajshme, edhe a ka me kanë për shembull 3 kolona dhe 3 rreshta, apo mujmë ja caktu çfarë do varianti. E kemi check area. Check area është për shembull japim disa pikat një kuboidi, edhe sa që pjesa efektorit fundëm ka lënë për shembull aty, roboti ka me kryj një veprim të caktuar që ja japim urdhën na. Te pjesa textile program, këtu i kemi për shembull është shumë fleksibil, ka komanda shumë komanda mundesh me jap, edhe këtu si opsione i kemi për shembull gjojnë vlerat e nyjeve, koordinatat edhe këndet e ullerit. Po ashtu këtu mujme për shembull me bë add, replace ose undo një pjesë të kodit që kemi shkruar, dhe këtu i kemi që mujme shtu për shembull komandë të re, edhe pjesa e infos. Te pjesa e infos e kemi për shembull aty i tregon se cila për shembull komandë, se si mundet mos shkru. Qoftë lëvizje, qoftë kushte, if else kushte, qoftë lupa ose qoftë mundet me bë për shembull lëvizje rrethore, lëvizje polyline apo lëvizje të ndryshme. Gjëja që është më e rëndësishme është për robotin, kur e përdorim robotin është siguria. Duhet të kemi parasysh se roboti nuk ka asnjë sensor, që është i vendosur që me ditë më kujdes për shembull për neve, prandaj na do të me majt në distancë sigurisë, sidomos kur është në modalitetin automatik. Këtu mujme po një video të ku është përdor një model i robotit Horst. Okej, tash ti mujmë me pa disa raste që i kemi, disa raste që i kemi programu për shembull me robot. Okej. Për shembull,
As I mentioned in the beginning, this application we will see now is probably one of the most used application in industry. When you go into logistics, when the truck comes with a lot of packages, you have to take the packages off to put it on a conveyor belt, even then down to assembling our iPhones and everything between that. There is thousands of different opportunities to do that. And so here it's just some simple blocks, but when you think of what that could be, there is a lot.
Këto për shembull ja jep pikat. Pikat për secilin ja jep një pikë. Do të me pas për shembull kujdes se do të më ajo pikat që edhe nëse ka një objekt tjetër këto, mos me dëmtu, se ky roboti gjithmonë e gjen rrugën e tij më të shkurt për me shku te pikat që ja ke jap. Kjo është vetëm një aplikim pick and place. Jo, manualisht. Se për shembull me pas kamerë ose diçka, mundesh me vendos. Po atëherë din që për shembull ajo pikë
Është përgjithësia e programerit.
Po, ashtu so. Carson, why the robot does his job? What about the security? Like me, we have seen a lot of movies when robots get out of control.
I mean, luckily, their ability to learn by themselves is still limited. Yeah, even though, I mean, with artificial intelligence, there is a lot happening at the moment using artificial intelligence for robots. Just to give you one example, I think it was Google who made this experiment. They had maybe 20 robots next to each other, and in front of them was just a box with bowls. Yeah, and the robot only had a gripper to get a bowl, but it didn't know how to grab it. And if it is not programmed like this, nothing happens. But there was also cameras, yeah, with it, so the robot could see where. And at the beginning, the robots would just go into the box and grab nothing. So the only thing that was programmed is, once you get a bowl by coincidence, you grab it, you show it to the camera, and to put it somewhere. At the beginning, all the robots did a big mess. After a few days of learning themselves, they could go inside, they could turn the orientation of the gripper, get the bowl in the right position, and everything worked. This kind of learning can happen, yeah. But that the robot gets its own conscience, let's say, its own will. I mean, we are probably, I'm not too specialist in that, we are probably not too far that learning speeds up in a way that is too much for us, yeah. But don't worry, this guy will not do anything bad to you, yeah. But well, he did before, yeah. So, but when it comes to security, very simple security is necessary normally. I mean, you're sitting there now, and that's good, because this doesn't have feelings. If it hits you, it really pains, yeah. That means there is a security fence, there are some laser curtains there, so that nothing can happen. Yeah. So whenever there is an application with a robot like this, we are not talking here about collaborative robots. Collaborative robots, they have some kind of feeling. When you come close with your skin, they can detect and they slow down and it works. Yeah? But this regular industrial robots, it needs security, it needs fence, yeah? So that no damage is done to humans working around it. Yeah. No, it gets never tired. It can go 24/7, like you saw. Also, one application, the last application in the automatic machine for I don't know what it did. So the robot can 24/7 put parts, take it out again, and put it back in the shelf. Yeah. And the interesting part also is you have a precision of 0.02 millimeters. Yeah, so this is a very high repeatability. Yeah, and it ensures a very high process. And the fun part is, I mean, these robots of other companies like KUKA, FANUC, they have siblings up to 1,000 kilograms they can put in their hand, and they have a similar repeatability. This is crazy, seeing these robots with half a ton or a ton handling a full car with this precision. Yeah? And the precision is not done by the mechanic, the precision is done by the control. Yeah? Because you know, when you have 1 ton at 2 meters of distance, every material will go like this. Yeah? But the control, they have these dynamic models. They correct, yeah. And so robot control is something very far developed. Also, many robots working together. You can add 6 robots to one control for some suppliers, and they all work as one robot, coordinated.
Carsten, one more question.
Yes.
Since they are not testing it, you said that South Korea uses them the most, but who produces most of the robots? Like for example, in German industry, they use a lot of robots, but do they produce them themselves, or it depends on the industry?
When it comes to quantity, I am not aware of the latest numbers, but Japan, FANUC, is one of the largest robot manufacturers. But since China bought KUKA, the German robot company, was a German robot company, so KUKA is now Chinese. ABB has its headquarters in China now and has built huge plants for robot manufacturing. And so and then there are many small robot companies that grow and grow larger in China. So I assume probably China is now one of the largest robot manufacturers globally. Yeah.
So I saw the movement here. Would it be possible for an escalator to be in a robot, or is that just too risky? An escalator for the buildings to carry the materials from the ground until like the 5th floor, wherever they're building? Or is it just too risky because it can hit the building or it can fall down or something?
I mean, we have to think of different types of robots. I mean, this robot could not move up unless you put it on a kind of rail, yeah, and can pick it at the bottom floor, and we can do that. It is done in the automotive industry. You know, you have several stories. Yeah, so they take the car body from the basement and they put it to the 3rd story for painting or whatever. And yeah, you can do that. Always keeping in mind the security for those who work around that place. But yeah, you can do that.
That's also been done in the storage industries where you have large warehouses with multiple stores of any product that they have. They use these automated guided vehicles to go and pick up anything from the shelves. So it's done with proper railing technique.
By using robots, is it the main idea to increase efficiency for your
business, let's say, or is it maybe a long-term solution to, for example, is it cheaper to buy and maintain a robot rather than pay a worker monthly?
I mean, that's a good question. You know, when you want to implement a robot for whatever task, just a naked robot doesn't do the job. You need some tools around, you need fencing, you need security, you need, yeah, and you can, I mean, this is just a number now, but you can think between 50,000 and 200,000 for one robot doing one job. Yeah, so, and then the calculation starts. Yeah. When it comes to robots, I mean, one thing is clear when it comes to precision, to repeatability, when it comes to 24/7, you know, and when it comes to work in an environment which is not healthy for humans. And when you think here in Kosovo of some working environments, there are quite some which are not good for humans to work in. Yeah, and these are the applications. I would say they should be not done by human beings. They should be done by robots when it comes to health. Also, carrying, you know, how many people have really problems because of extreme working conditions. Yeah, and calculating is the main thing then. Yeah, because the investment is it's quite a bit, and it's not only the investment. It's also to maintain the robot. You know, and but today when it comes to maintenance, this robot is made for plug and play. I have to admit, you know, when this robot came, you know, I told Kustrim and Titon, first we do training. You don't touch the robot, you don't first do training. I said, no, here in Kosovo we do different.
We go straight to the robot.
We go straight to the robot, we play, yeah, and then after a while we think about training. You know, I got nervous, and well, they didn't listen to me, yeah, and they played, and it was good so, because this robot is made for plug and play to learn intuitively, and these are the systems. This is the development of the systems also, with all the complexity you saw with these high automatized lines. The way to program them, the way to use them is getting more and more simple. Nevertheless, it needs good qualification, yeah, and experience, some enthusiasm, and then it can grow.
Because just to add something, to program a robot is not just doing things. It needs to solve some problems, and to solve the problem, you need to understand the solution for this problem, you know. And it's not just like moving the robot. It's solving for example, welding is not just you start the welding, but you need a lot of parameters for that. And also for pick up, for example, you cannot pick with this gripper every kind of materials. You need different kind of grippers for different kind of materials. So it's not just moving the robot. There's additional knowledge behind it.
Drejton, do ishta, apo ashtu kemi mikrofon? Se vim vish për video. Do ishta me të pyet se ti vish ke përfundu studimet në Universitetin e Prishtinës. Vija trasha, sa është sistemi unë edukimit në vijë me zhvillime teknologjike të kohës edhe një student i UP-s ose universiteteve tjera. A është gjendje me mësu që me përshtat tregut që është bajegi vibrant edhe që lëviz bajegi shpejt?
Ma herët, muj me thonë që ka problem, shumë ma problem, se nuk ka pas pajisje sa do. Tash të laboratorët janë ka furnizuar në çdo herë ma shumë. Studentat tash kanë akses ma shumë në për laboratorë, edhe muj mi pa sendet ma reale. Ma herët të kanë ma problem, po besoj që tash të ja ka njës të përmisu, edhe janë laboratorët duke u mbush me pajisje.
What brand of PLC you use for that?
Siemens.
Siemens. But is it compatible if you use ABB, for example, for this robot? You can use every brand of PLC.
I think
this not because this has a Profinet communication. Profinet is especially for Siemens. So, and because Siemens is the biggest producer of automation, and I think they
only for horse, for example, but in
Yeah.
general,
Não neste me comunicou, me Modbus. Me país se tierra, não neste me Modbus me comunicou. Com sistema.
I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead and then
What do you recommend for beginners how to start to learn the robotics or PLC or?
First of all, I recommend YouTube. Yeah, no joke. I mean, in YouTube you find so many applications, yeah, and also tutorials to get a feeling, you know, for the thing. And then, of course, when if you are technically not like me, yeah, then you can also build your robot yourself. You can find control routines in the internet and download, and it's possible, yeah. And but when it comes now into an industrial setting, it's nice to have an environment where there is a robot, where there's a PLC, and to be guided by someone who knows through the structure to understand how industry works. Because playing robot and PLC is one thing, but to get it in the context of industry is another. Yeah? But to start with YouTube and then to find an opportunity, and probably we will have some training courses here, and to do a training course, yeah. And but YouTube, go for it, yeah.
Start with it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I had a question. This is more about your opinion. Where do you see the future of robotics or even automation in the next 10, 20, or even 50 years? Do you think that in the next 50 years I cannot go past my day without having contact with at least one robot or something?
I mean, basically already we are kind of dependent on a robot which we carry in our bag. It's not a robot that moves, it's our phone that controls us, more or less. So it's already there. Yeah. So when you look into working processes in larger companies, there's automation everywhere. You know, you have whether it's data processes. You know, when you go to GIZ, yeah, when they work on contracts, there is no paper anymore. Everything is digital, the whole process. Yeah, there is the first guy who has to scan something that goes inside. There's the next guy who has to read it and classify it. And this is automation also, but it is in a data way. Yeah, and we have your coffee machine, probably. You know, press the button, cluck, it's automated already. Yeah, so the car. So first, we are already part of a huge environment of automation without feeling it that way. My personal belief is that, as I mentioned at the beginning, automation needs to serve the people and not people serving the automation. And that when it comes to Kosovo, I believe we need a lot of automation here to really grow our industry to an extent that all of you who are thinking to leave the country because there's not enough salaries, there are not high enough salaries, there is not enough jobs, wanting to stay here to get one of these jobs that we create by these opportunities, bringing new products here, new services here, yeah, which we can export not only in the world but also use here in Kosovo. And I believe automation is a major key, and there will be a lot of automation here. Yeah. First you and then you.
Okay, I want your opinion. What do you think about the industry 4.0? What's the current status of it, and how are we near an optimum on industry 4.0?
You know, if you ask 10 people about what is Industry 4.0, you get 10 different opinions. And honestly speaking, we had some entrepreneur with a large company coming to us asking, I need Industry 4.0. Why? He said, because everyone has it. But what is it? I don't know. I need Industry 4.0. Yeah? And I mean, you have this concept like Internet of Things. Yeah? That your whole supply chain, yeah, is basically controlled. Yeah? That all the signals you have in your production, whether it's temperature, rotation, vibration, availability of parts, whatever, is connected to everything down to the end of the supply chain. Yeah? In China, for instance, if the part here is missing, 10 days before in China they get the signal, send it. Yeah? This is already happening. Yeah? And I don't like this concept of thinking in a box. I like the concept of thinking what is needed. Yeah? And then this concept within Industry 4.0, like Internet of Things, like using more sensors and so on, become quite interesting. But we need to think and not just to follow something which is hype. It was.
As you mentioned earlier, you said that one of the most important reasons of making, for example, robots is to do jobs that are not as safe for people. So with that in mind, do you think robots should firstly be presented to state level rather than private businesses? So for example, to do jobs in, to take an example, Obilis here, or maybe the power plant in Ukraine. Do you think it should be presented in those ways or to private businesses or whoever can afford them?
I think to both, because it's different needs, yeah, and also different opportunities, yeah. And I think what should be addressed very quickly is to increase the human capacity of handling automation, creating automation, PLC programming, robot programming, virtual commissioning, industrial design, and all this, because this is necessary as a prerequisite to introduce. Because if you don't know, it doesn't help, right? A tool you don't know how to handle, it's not worth anything, yeah? And so it's also something we need to be addressed to the universities, to the schools, to institutions. How can we grow the skill base regarding industrial automation, and then automatically creative people will create something that is really exciting.
Okay, Dritan and Karsten, thank you so much for your time. I believe now is time when we can just get closer to Horst and probably just close this recording of this event. And we have some pizzas here and some drinks.
That's good.
So they don't get cold. Faleminderit shumë edhe njërin do Turkinë në universitetin e Sa shpërbyllim eventin zyrtarisht, po çohme ndoshta muhabet, pyetje, përgjigje në universitetin e tonë dhe me kështu që funksionon ndoshta në disa prej veçorive tjera të fundit. Is that okay? Are you done?
Yeah, sure. No, thank you very much for coming.
Po dhe mujna, vish kush është interesuar me orë që funksionon edhe ana qelë në birë kja. Let's go.